So I was thinking about builds that I could make in Elden Ring, cosplay builds. And I was thinking about builds that I could make early on without having to beat the entire game to get them. Because Elden Ring's a long game. I've made a lot of builds recently. I was tired of like going through the entire DLC and beating all the way up to the Halig Tree or Farum Azula to have to get all the materials I needed for my build. So I was thinking, what can I cosplay that will not require me to beat the whole game? And I thought about it, and I decided on Banished Knights. You can find them right in Limgrave. The one I farmed wasn't in Limgrave, but you know, the Banished Knights with the bandanas are right in Caelid. You can get to them in like 10 minutes. So I farmed them for a bit, and I got the Ashes of War, and I decided on using the Banished Knight's Halberd with Stormcaller. I decided on that after having used the Great Sword with Stormblade and the Halberd with Storm Assault, and I decided that those were not as fun as Stormcaller. Stormcaller just feels right. And you'll see quite a few clips of that in this video of Stormcaller doing some crazy damage. I also like it because of what you just see here. The jumping attack combo that it has. The Banished Knight's Halberd, and any halberd that has thrusting attacks, has a true combo where if you land a heavy R2 jumping attack, you can true combo it into an R1. Look at that Crystal Torrent. Absolutely obnoxious. Anyways, it's got that true combo, and it just has great roll catch potential because it has the thrusting attacks. So I was really eager to try this weapon out, and it hasn't disappointed me. It's done a really great job, especially with Stormcaller. Stormcaller does a great job of handling group encounters. It's worth noting that this is recorded on the Seamless Co-op mod, so there's a few changes. But first, watch this absolutely amazing predict. I knew after that backstab that they were going to get real aggressive, so I predicted that Stormcaller would be a good choice, and it worked. Here's the same group of people, only the guy who was using the Cestus before has switched to dual whips, which is really annoying to fight. And I'm under no delusion that dual whips is a good combo, but if you've ever fought it before, you know it's an annoying combo, especially when the other teammate is using spells. It's a good thing I have Carrying Retaliation and Fan Daggers. But yeah, this is filmed on the Seamless Co-op mod, so it means that hosts and you can ride Torrent, you can summon Spirit Ashes, you have to kill all of the enemy players before you win the invasion, not just the host. When you invade, you typically invade down. Look at that bait with the boiled crab. I knew he'd attack me if I ate it. No, I didn't. That was an accident, but it worked. I baited him into attacking me and got the kill. But one of the other things is that when you invade, you typically invade down in levels instead of having a little bit of upward range. You still have a little bit of upward range, but it's not nearly as high. Here's another clip of a host just absolutely feeding me Glintblade Phalanxes via Carrying Retaliation. It hit his teammate, it killed his jellyfish, absolutely eviscerates his teammate again. I combo him out of that. But he's still casting it. He just doesn't know how to stop. Surely he's learned his lesson. Nope. He's still casting it. Okay, look, he switched to melee. He's done. He learned his lesson. Just kidding. I am in awe at the number of times that these players will continue to shoot glintstone pebbles at the person who's reflected them dozens of times already. Even more so when the person reflecting them has killed your team with said Carrying Retaliation. It boggles the mind. And it happens more often than anyone would expect. But, you know, to my benefit, of course. This was before I switched to Stormcaller. I used Storm Assault for a few invasions. It's alright, it just didn't feel as good. It's kind of like Storm Stomp, but like pre-built. You don't get to choose what your follow-up is. You're forced to do the thrust, which is fine, it's good damage. But it's not nearly as useful or as fun as Stormcaller. And if you notice there, I saw him casting the fireball and I was able to switch in time to retaliate it. This was the first invasion I did. Not the first, but one of the first, where I was still using the greatsword. And just look at this roll catching combo. Beautiful. And I determined that the greatsword is fine, but it's not my preference to use right now. I switched off of it after a while because it just... the one-handed moveset isn't as fun, and if I'm not using it one-handed, then I'm not really doing the cosplay. I don't know. I'm weird about that, but I just don't enjoy it as much as a two-handed. Twinsies! My teammate and I are dressed in the same clothing. Beautiful. This one is awesome. I love spawning in next to them with Stormcaller. You can just instantly use it, and the invulnerability gives you enough freedom to start swinging right away. So look, I already killed his teammate. He tries for a second, but then he just gives up. My Stormcaller was so powerful, it absolutely demolished this man's spirit. I think it's funny when you see hosts doing this. To an extent, I kind of get it. Maybe he has no Estus left, you know? Sorry, Crimson Tears. But you at least would have had a chance if you had fought back. Here's why Horses in co-op is a double-edged sword. When they're on their horse, it's super easy to stunlock them because they don't get iframes. So this guy was just sitting there. And I let him heal. I'm like, okay, let's have a real duel. So I fight him for a bit. What is bro aiming at? So he gets on low health, and his reaction is, let's get back on the horse. Well, I've been around the block, buddy. I've been playing seamless co-op for a while. You need tools to deal with Torrent. So here's the linchpin. It's like a phantom bloody finger. And it teleports me right to his teammate, who also gets instantly storm-called. Beautiful. But yeah, the addition of Torrent to the seamless co-op mod is a double-edged sword because it gives you so much more mobility in multiplayer than you typically have. You always have to run around if you summon people, and that's just slow and boring. Likewise for invaders, when you have to pursue people through the open world, it just takes so long. And having Torrent makes it so much faster. But it also means it's really hard to catch people. Unless you have really good movement, it's hard to catch up to people. So I use the bone bow. And that bird. Oh god, audio compression. I use the bone bow to hit people off the horseback, and it's awesome because it seeks them. It has a very long range, and it will stagger them. It'll stun lock them until they fall off of the horse. And that is really useful. It means if you can get one hit and they are still in lock-on distance, you can just keep spamming it until they fall off the horse. And then if you're feeling particularly cruel, you can keep shooting it while they're on the ground and potentially kill them. I don't usually go that far unless they keep running. In this clip, they had friendly fire enabled, so he killed his teammate. I don't know if that's a mistake or if they just forgot to turn it off for me, but I thought it was funny. But yeah, if you're playing seamless co-op and you're doing invasions, you definitely want something to counter Torrent. And in my case, that's the bone bow. It's got super low requirements. If you're in the DLC, it's not too hard to get. and it just does a nasty job of knocking people off of Torrent. This invasion is a 1v3, which is not a good situation for anybody. And look, it's a guy with a Bloodflame Nagakiba, a guy with the Guts Greatsword, and a caster. They've got a full-blown RPG party here. Not the sort of thing you want to be fighting. But look, I've got a teammate of my own. And I wasn't sure how much health this dog would have, because look, they staggered him so quickly. And I know that normally the dogs don't have much health. But my fears were allayed pretty shortly after when he ate the other two alive. Holy shit. So that dog turned what would have been an otherwise horrifying 1v3 into a really easy 2v3. This isn't the kind of situation you want to find yourself in. A 1v2 in an open field with no enemies nearby. Here we are in Radahn's Beach. There's nothing I can do to like lure these guys towards enemies. They're too far from anything. There's the elevator. If I go up the elevator, they're going to take the waystone, the waygate. But I managed to kill that guy. He's wearing mage armor and fat rolling. So I got the easiest roll catches of my life. And for a minute, I'm kind of floundering against this guy. It's hard to hit somebody if they don't want to be hit. But then he does this absolute bot behavior. And I don't say that lightly. But he just kept spamming sword dance, and then he got roll caught 3 times. But it looked cool. So part of the reason I switched to the Banished Knight Halberd over the Banished Knight Greatsword is the ability for the Halberd to roll catch. For one, it's got that amazing true combo that I mentioned earlier. And I'll discuss that more in a second too. But the roll catching potential is fantastic, which sort of goes without saying. It's a Halberd. The thrust moveset on Halberds is great. This guy died to the hardest boss in From Software history. I sprung an ambush on this guy. That doesn't usually work. But the thrusting moveset on these halberds, the Banished Knight and Dragon Halberd, and maybe some others, is amazing for pursuing people. You can roll catch like nobody's business, and you can chase people down really easily. And I enjoy that, because people run a lot when you invade them. So having the option to, chase them down and hit them even while they're running is really great, which is something that's very difficult to do with other weapons. I'm not going to say it's impossible, because I'm not, I haven't used a lot of weapons yet, so I don't know that for sure. But in my experience, when you use something like the Greatsword, it's a lot harder to chase people down, unless it's something like the Claymore, and even then I haven't used that, but it's got a thrusting moveset, so it's probably better at that than the Banished Knight Greatsword, which has no thrusting moves. But yeah, I just got so much more mileage out of a halberd. Always bring fan daggers. But yeah, the true combo. So obviously a true combo is good. Obviously, it's more damage than you would hit with any single attack. But my favorite use of it is as a heal punish. And it works especially well because when you've invaded for long enough, you get a feel for when people are going to go drink from their flask. Sort of like there, where all of us drink at once. But you get a feel for when people are going to drink. And it's not hard to identify. When people get below like half health, they'll run away, get a certain amount of distance, and then chug. But when you get that feeling, it makes it really easy to get close and punish the heal. But normally that only means getting one hit in. Most weapons can hit them once before they roll away. But with the true combo, you can hit them with the jumping attack, which does a lot of damage, and then the thrust, and it's better damage, but if you have status build up, then it's better damage. I have Frostbite on this halberd just for damage. Not quite in cosplay. This type of Banished Knight doesn't have it, but there are Banished Knights that have it, so. Look at this guy. He parried me. Mad respect. Turns out that after the true combo that I've been gushing about, if you do a heavy attack R2 after, it seems like it's the perfect timing to be parried by carrying retaliation. This is the last clip I have, and it has an absolutely awesome ending. So these guys summoned some Spirit Ashes against me. Just the skeleton guys, the two skeletons with spears. Spirit Ashes in Seamless Co-op aren't as bad as I thought they would be. I thought it would be really oppressive to fight them, but look, the skeleton barely does any damage, and in a second I like kill him on accident. I one-shot him with the Storm Assault. This was back when I was using Storm Assault. Finish him off there. And boom. He's gone. So yeah, like a Spirit Ash is nice to have in your back pocket, but it's not necessary. Look at this. Jump over the Holy Blade and get the true combo. Absolutely brutal. Now, I don't know if anybody will watch this or care, but if somebody does watch it, they'll inevitably ask what the build is. And it's nothing special. It's just a level 50 build. I basically hit the minimum requirements for the halberd, and then put the rest into endurance to wear the armor, and the rest into vigor, so I have a lot of health. Here you can see my talisman setup. It's not optimal. It's the Erdtree favor lowest level, so if you wanted to get to Landell the Ashen Capital, you could use that. It's also got the Enraged Divine Beast, which, not good. It's just like a half of an Alexander's Shard. Alexander's Shard boosts Ashes of War by 20%, the Divine Beast boosts Storm Ashes of War by 10%, so it's just a slight damage boost. But yeah, that's all for today, so thank you for watching.